One of the side effects of this global pandemic that we're only just beginning to understand is its negative impact on mental health. Is it possible that access to natural spaces that are currently privatised, that you'd have to trespass to access, could provide a solution to this mental health crisis? I spoke to Nick Hayes, the author of the Book of Trespass, to find out what he thought about the pandemic and access to natural spaces and the potential positive impact that freedom to roam our land could have. So that the objective of your campaign and sort of your ideals, as I understand them, is not like we should reclaim all privately owned land and make it once again common. It's rather that people should have the right to access walled off territories that have sort of been privately colonised.
Well, one step at a time, I reckon. And no, I think certainly in terms of the Right to Roam campaign, what we're looking to do is just open up more of English nature to the public that so badly need it. The science is in, that conversation is done. Mental health, physical health, spiritual health have all been proved to be improved by access to nature. And on all sorts of scales as well, like, a view from a mountaintop has been proved to make you kinder. It's not just heart disease and symptoms of anxiety or depression that are alleviated through, running water and birdsong, but just more kind of abstract or deeper ones, like ones that really do touch on the spiritual. So for our Right to Roam campaign, we're just saying we've already got the Countryside and Rights of Way Act brought in the year 2000, 20th anniversary, just a couple of months ago. We've already got that. Let's extend it to rivers, let's extend it to woodland, and let's extend it to greenbelt, because currently the Crow land, or the open access land, is out in the Peak District or Derbyshire. It's great, it's beautiful, but it could be extended to people's doorsteps. And for the health of the nation and quote unquote Boris Johnson, to alleviate the pressure on the NHS, both in terms of psychiatric and kind of physical health, this would be the single most effective move to just sort of promote a healthier England.
You think that the sort of mental health crisis that is being exacerbated by this pandemic could be alleviated if there were immediate legislative change that gave people access to our land?
People have been craving outside space. Like, you take it away. Like, I was first lockdown, I was in a tower block in East London, 11th floor. It was just me and my mate doing kind of jiu-jitsu moves in the foyer in our pants, just like trying to break a sweat, trying to keep our heart rate up. All we had was a patch of land on Columbia Road, like sort of a park, that was just rammed full of people. I'm a boater now, and certainly during the first lockdown, all the boaters were actually quite scared because the towpaths were just heaving with people seeking exercise. Victoria Park was mental. And Bournemouth Beach made national news because everyone went crazy. The point that the papers almost obstinately refused to sort of say with regards to that is, like, how many rivers and fields and woodlands did people drive past to get to Bournemouth Beach? Like, people like the seaside and everyone likes a sandcastle and stuff, but it's not in our culture to go and sit by the river. It's not in our culture to just, go and camp in the woods as a family. People do it, but people have to pay to do it, which basically means a lot of people can't do it. And so once again, this is how trespass enters the paradigm of class or income or wealth. If bully for you if you've got 1,000 acres at your disposal that you can go and sleep under the stars in, or good luck to you if you can afford an overnight stay in a sort of glamping spot, to go and get some forest bathing in a woodland kind of thing. It all costs money. Petrol, childcare if you're just going away, as a couple. All of this kind of thing doesn't have to, it just doesn't exist in Norway. Like, you have the option of glamping, but you also have the option of just taking a roll mat and sleeping under the stars, because they just don't define it as a crime.
Yes, to sort of criminalize our relationship with nature seems like as you say, an obstinate and willfully cruel thing to do. I was thinking as you were speaking that these are for hundreds of thousands, millions of years, we've evolved in alignment with these conditions. We're born of these conditions. It's only a relatively modern thing to be denied access to them. Elsewhere in the book, Nick, you talk about the kind of assumption that the countryside and Englishness belongs to particular types of people, that there are particular types of activity that are sanctioned by particular groups of people. How has this come about, and how do we challenge these preconceptions? And can you explain a little bit what I'm alluding to?
Yeah, I mean, what your question made me think of the hare chapter. All the chapters have got animal names on them that kind of weave in and out. They're kind of the totems of each chapter. And the hare chapter was basically about rave and the kind of ecstatic relationship that we have with the land. First time I heard Faithless first time I heard Insomnia out in the open air at some festival, probably Reading kind of thing, under the stars. And then, the bass dropped and everyone went stir-fry crazy. And suddenly, I'd felt it in clubs before, but it was a different thing. It was under the stars. There was a magic there that really made me feel like the kind of art and the culture and the music that humans make actually has a place amongst the wild world. And in many ways is our wildness. That's the kind of imagination that comes from it. But basically all of those old English festivals, Jack o' Green, Beltane, Samhain, all of those kind of things, there were just hundreds more of them. They were localized, they were small, they were relative to the topography, to the land, to the weather, to the just weird, queer, eccentric culture that existed on the commons. But of course, and I go in the book to Wilderness Festival, where there was a huge, basically anarchist festival. People brought along a bit like Burning Man now, like you bring along what you've got and you sort of swap it and trade it, and if you can juggle or fire breathe or whatever, you just do it and people hang around and watch, kind of thing. That was the origin of festivals, but now in this same place, Cornbury Park in Oxfordshire, this is where Wilderness happens. And as I make, I'm very careful to say that Wilderness is a pretty good festival. There's bog roll in the toilets and it's clean and stuff, but it is the apotheosis of what's become of our sort of festival kind of pagan spirit, which is basically if you can afford it, you can do it. And there's the sort of, to add insult to injury, you can pay £2,000 to go to Wilderness Festival and stay in a gypsy caravan. But if you are a traveller and you turn up in a gypsy caravan, they're going to shit on you from a great height. So everything's become kind of commodified. It's, the sort of romance is sold to you. The idea that you can do it yourself autonomously has just disappeared. And of course, the people that are blamed for the diminishment of English culture it's that myth of Winterval that I go into in the book. You blame immigrants for watering down English culture, but the bare bog standard truth of it is that we're just not allowed to create our culture. If that culture is entertainment or coming together or communality, there's nowhere for us to do it unless you've got the pennies in your pocket to give to someone that owns the title deeds of it.
Makes me feel, Nick, that the wrath that fueled Brexit is indeed a wrath that is legitimate, a rage, a sense that people have been disconnected from their land, from who they really are. robbed of sacredness. Even sacredness seems now too esoteric a word to describe what would have been an organic and visceral connection to nature. And yes, it's easy to see how appointed enemies bear the brunt of that fury, because it's harder to, well, not only harder to recognise, it's actively concealed that what's taken place is that capital has been inserted in all of these relationships. I like the bit where you describe the sort of phenomena of like forest bathing or whatever, even like something like you say in your book, like a stroll in the woods has been repackaged to something that requires sort of the commodity to midwife it back to you. If you're enjoying this conversation, join me over at Luminary for the rest of our discussion. For all the latest episodes of Under the Skin, go luminarypodcast.com to start your free trial. This is a free trial. See you there.